Good morning, traders. It's Perry Wiggle with StartupTrading.com. It is the start of Q2 2025. So today is April 1st. So we'll see if there's any April Fool's jokes on anyone, namely the Bears, I think it would be. So as we look at really the news flow for the day, there's really not a lot. Uh, we're, Ward's total vehicle sales are out today. That could be a little dicey for some of the automakers if you play individual names just because of all the tariff stuff coming on. But I don't know. None of that's really hit the tape yet, I don't think. So, but keep in mind if you play individual autos that, that's out there. Lagarde was on a half hour ago. I don't know if she said anything. The market didn't seem to care if she did. And then really, we've got today at 10 o'clock is your major news, right? We got Jolts at 10. That would normally be the headline of my video, just to remind you that, you know, you should be flat ahead of the 10 a.m. print or, looking to participate outside of the market that we're currently in, at least a block. And then we're going to have ISM with that as well. And that's going to do it for the news today. And then we'll get in the rest of the stuff later. Since I wasn't here yesterday, the big events for the week, right, are Friday. Non-farm payroll at 8:30. And Jerome Powell's going to be on a hot mic at 11:25 on Friday. That's your biggest news events for the week. After and then the little bitty news is Jolts today, and Jolts can be either a non-event or a market slamming event, and so can ISM. So you got both of those today, right? So it can be basically a nothing burger to all the way up to, a 300 point run on the NQs. Probably up today was where it would be, but we'll see. So yesterday, let's shake off the cobwebs. Look back at yesterday. I had the power outage yesterday, so I didn't get to, sit at the desk and watch. But it was exactly as, uh, I warned it would be very whippy and choppy, right? Even though this was a solid uptrend that we had, it was, a lot more volatile, a lot more mini swings on the way up than, most of us are used to as of late. Uh, don't expect this same type of action today. We've got, so the low for the Qs was 467 half basically, and I'm sorry, 457 half up to 470. The Qs are currently trading 467, and then as we look at the cash market, basically 4490 up to 5625 yesterday. Uh, the market closed yesterday at 5611. We're down about 16 points right now. So all being equal, we would be down just a smidgen under 5600 on the cash market right now. The SPY traded yesterday between 547 up to uh, almost 561. The SPY is currently trading 557. Um, and then we got rid of a lot of nasty structure that was left from the past. We formed some poor structure, bullish poor structure for a change, right? On a down day. That should tell you something. That I warned that the expiration on Friday and then the JPM collar that was expiring yesterday, those were your big events, right? And you really didn't want to, you know, go too much against the positioning on those, to be honest with you. So as we look at where we're at right now, we got these single prints. We've been battling over these single prints. Remember, when you look at this grid, for those of you who aren't familiar, There's an auction above these single prints. There's an auction below these single prints. Where the splits are, those can be splits and auctions as well. So you got basically a lot of little distributions from yesterday on the Nasdaq. You got, between the solid line with the XSNA up to this dash line is one auction. From the dash line to the bottom of these single prints is another auction, and from the top of these single prints, uh, basically up to the high of the day was another auction, and that auction actually extends up into this little single print here, and then you go into another split of auctions. So what I'm thinking should happen today, and it doesn't mean it will, but remember normally what should happen in the market does happen, and if it doesn't, it's with equal magnitude and force in the opposite direction. But we should get into these large single print blocks above sometime during this session. As long as we can hold the auction above the single prints, which seems like there's acceptance in the overnight session so far. Um, Looking at position, 5600 is your bogey, right? Remember, we're just a smidgen under this 5600 in the cash more than likely. We'll see what happens when the market opens in 27 minutes. Uh, but that's going to be your line that you really want to watch. That's your first marker for whether you're playing the NQ or the ES. You want to see if you got acceptance above or below this 5600 in the cash market, not the futures, the cash. And that's going to give you your play, right? Basically, there's potential for 25 to 50 points on either side of that. As it rotates around. Looking at the SPY, and there's not a lot of markers for the SPY today or this week, really. You got 550 should be the floor. Remember, we're trading 557 right now, 557.5, so that would be 57 points down from where we are. That should be the floor. That's your marker to the downside for the S&P 500 and the everything with the S&P 500. That's your floor. So, if we're gonna stay contained, we're gonna stay between the cash, the SPX 5600, and we're gonna stay above the SPY 550. That means we're closer to the top than the bottom if that's what happens. But if we break over the 5600, right, you could roll up to 566, and then 570 potentially. I wouldn't look for anything over 570 at this point for probably today, and then we'd have to see what Jolts gives us later. Looking at the Qs the same way, the Qs are trading 467 half right now, so it would be 100 points up to get to 470. So basically, if you look at where we're printing right now, we're printing basically 19,395. So let's call it 19,490 would be right around where this 470 is. That's your resistance until proven otherwise, not only for today, but for the week until we, can bust through it. Getting above there, right, makes these puts worthless. The dealer's going to have to start buying futures a little bit, and you could get a push up to 475. I wouldn't look for anything past that, but you have to see if you can get past 470 first. For the floor for today, 457 would be it. That would be about 410 points lower than we're currently trading. I don't know if that's really in the cards, but we'll be able to see from those markers and all the auctions that I pointed out just a little while ago. Looking at where we're at, the bearers yesterday could not even get to this 55.27 half. That was really embarrassing on their side, right? That you couldn't even tag that point of control. So keep in mind that everyone and their brother has stops under yesterday's low, and then looking back at the low from March 13th. If we take out that low, it can be just one more flush looky-loo and turn around. But more than likely, if you take out that low, you're running stops and you're going all the way down to 53.67. I wouldn't even look for any longs below this spot. Either sit on your hands or wait on to get back above. Uh, Basically, I'd say 55.50. uh, before you even start thinking long. If in the future that breaks, we might not. I'm just putting that out there so you're aware of it. It might not happen until Powell gets on the mic Friday. To be honest with you, if we're going back down that way. Otherwise, we should start making our way back up towards this 57.50 and even this 58.51. I think that's where we're heading in the next 2 weeks, if not sooner. And then again, this was our one time framing, right? We come back down. So basically, yesterday, if you look at the tape, was a look below and fail. This was our balance zone between 19,372 and 20,510. This is the balance area. The ES took, or the NASDAQ took that look below and failed. As long as you stay above, I would say, 19,375, that was a looking above and look below and fail. And you should start, getting back up. I would at least to say to, 19,800, which would be about 400 points more than we are. And it might not happen today, right, as we'll go through, but this is really your line in this 19,375. The same for the ES. We had that look below balance and fail yesterday. The balance low for it was, let's just call it 55.60, and then could easily go up into, I would say, 56.80. Which is, that's only 40 points above us, and then you have to start making decisions. There's a lot of people that would like their money back between 56.80 and 57.30 to 40, right around in there. Um, Overnight action, 45.5 points so far, and if we look at it, we're really, and I really don't generally care too much. I mark these just so we're aware of them, because when all the indexes act the same, it's easier to trade, and I get more aggressive that way. That's the only reason I really track the Russell and the Dow. Mainly, I'm just focusing on the NASDAQ and the ES. I'm just watching to see if there is 100% correlation between these indexes. I get a much more aggressive to the downside and the upside when I see that. I basically double my size when I see that. And then otherwise, it's just, trading as usual. But what you see in the overnight session, after, coming up to and sweeping yesterday's high for the NASDAQ, getting to value area high for the ES, as you come back down on that pullback that we had right around 7:30 this morning, notice that the bottom of this single print box held for both of these indexes. That is not only your marker. I mean, if you don't use my charts while you're trading, definitely take the bottom of that single print or this swing low. You can see it on your chart without it. Mark that swing low off. And if you start, that's where the stops are. Remember, this is an entirely different auction below that, right? So we're holding this upper auction for now, but there's going to be a lot of stops below there if it hits. And then mark where these candle bodies are. Basically, you want to see acceptance above there. So in between there, where this wick is, it's basically no man's land, right? So uh, that's my, what I want to show you. So if we continue to hold this, the lower end of this box, right, we should start taking out yesterday's high. We should hit this, take out these single prints, and we should start playing in this auction that's between these single prints and this large single print above. And we should start eating into these single prints sometime either today or tomorrow. I would expect some action up there today, and then maybe finish it off tomorrow and get up to these solid lines sometime tomorrow. Well, remember, major news at 10. I didn't do it as my name on my video, but you got to be ready for, you know, basically don't expect a nothing burger, even though it could come. Uh, you should be able to, flatten up before that 10 o'clock print, reposition yourself after it, and get back into trading. Otherwise, you're likely to get a double stopped out if you try to hold through that 10 o'clock. Uh, Good luck. We'll see what Jack's looking at. Missed you guys yesterday, and glad to be back at it, and we'll see how this day goes.